I'm Ayesha, 28 years old, and I never thought I'd be here, sharing something so personal. But here I am, telling you about something that completely changed my life and how I see love, family, and the power of believing in yourself. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button because you'll want to stick around to hear the full story. Trust me, it's not your average love story. It's about the kind of love that challenges everything, even the people you thought would be on your side. I grew up in a small town. My family wasn't rich, but we were happy. We always had enough, and I was taught to work hard and value what we had. But dreams, they weren't easy. We didn't have a legacy to lean on or money to throw around. Everything we wanted had to be earned. My parents raised me to believe that life wasn't just handed to you, you had to fight for it. That mindset, that constant hustle, carried me through a lot of challenges, but nothing prepared me for what was about to come. When I met Adil, I thought maybe, just maybe, this was the one thing in my life that could come easy. Adil and I met in a small cafe on a rainy afternoon. We instantly clicked. He was charming, easy to talk to, and had this warm energy that just pulled me in. We laughed, shared stories, and before I knew it, I found myself falling for him. For the first time, I thought that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. We'd been dating for almost 2 years before I met his family, and honestly, I was excited. I'd seen enough rom-coms to know that this was supposed to be the next step, right? Meeting the parents, gaining their approval. What could possibly go wrong? But the first time I walked into his family's home, I knew something wasn't right. His siblings were warm, welcoming, even a little playful. But his parents, they barely acknowledged me. His mom gave me a tight smile, one that didn't quite reach her eyes. And his dad, well, he barely looked at me. I thought it was nerves. Maybe they were just shy. It had to be that, right? Then, one night, it all came crashing down. We were having dinner, and I remember the moment so clearly. His dad, looking directly at me, said, "Ayesha, no offense, but you don't belong here." I froze. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My heart raced as I tried to process what he had just said. He continued, "Look at you. You're not from the same class as us. What are you even doing with my son?" I wanted to say something, anything, but I couldn't find the words. His mother added, "You come from a poor family. This isn't a good match." The weight of those words, the way they sliced through the air, felt unbearable. I looked at Adil, hoping, praying he'd step in, say something, defend me. But he didn't. He just sat there, staring at his plate. I was speechless. I tried to hold it together, but inside, I was broken. All I could think was, why does it matter where I come from? Isn't love supposed to be about who we are, not what we have? I wanted to run, to leave that room, to leave that situation behind. But I stayed. I sat there, trying to hold it together, because this wasn't just about me. It was about my future, my love, my life with Adil. And I wasn't about to let anyone ruin that. Now, I know you're probably wondering, what did I do? What happened next? Well, I made a choice. I couldn't let his parents' words define me. I couldn't let their prejudice tear apart what I knew was real. I loved Adil, and I wasn't going to let anyone, not even his parents, tell me that I wasn't worthy of that love. So, I stood up. I took a deep breath and said, "You may not think I belong here, but I'm here for Adil. I'm here because I love him, and I'm not going anywhere. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But in that moment, I realized something. Love doesn't have to fit into anyone's box. It doesn't have to match anyone's standards. It only has to be real now. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Was I wrong to stand my ground? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. The days after that dinner were hard. I thought about what had happened, replaying it over and over in my mind. I couldn't understand why it felt like everything was so wrong. Adil had been distant. He didn't call me as much. And when he did, his tone was different, cold, almost, as if he was avoiding something. It hurt, but I didn't want to push him. After everything his parents had said, I thought he needed time to process it, to figure out where his loyalties truly lay. But I also couldn't ignore the feeling in my gut, the feeling that maybe, just maybe, his family's rejection had already planted a seed in his mind. I refused to believe it, but doubt started to creep in, and that doubt weighed heavily on my heart. Was he going to listen to his parents? Was he going to let them decide who he should love? I didn't know, but I wasn't going to sit around, waiting for him to make up his mind. I had to do something. So, I decided to talk to him. No more silence. No more hiding behind my thoughts. It was a Saturday afternoon when I called him. My hands were shaking as I dialed his number, the nerves bubbling up inside me. I needed to know what he was thinking, what his intentions were. The phone rang for what felt like an eternity before he picked up. Hello? His voice sounded tired, distant. Adil, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We need to talk. He sighed heavily on the other end of the line. Ayesha, not now, okay? I'm not in the right headspace. No, Adil, we need to talk. Now, I pressed. I'm not going to let this sit between us. What happened the other night? What they said? It's not just about them. It's about us. It's about our future. So please, just talk to me. There was a long pause. I could hear him breathing deeply, as if he was debating whether or not to continue the conversation. Then, finally, he spoke. I didn't know what to say that night. Ayesha, my parents, they're not exactly the most accepting people. They've always been about appearances, about status, about where you come from. And when they said all that stuff about you, about me not being with someone from the same background, I didn't know how to respond. I felt my heart tighten. It wasn't just what they said, it was the fact that he didn't speak up for me. I thought you loved me, I said, my voice cracking a little. But it feels like you're choosing them over me. I'm not choosing anyone, he said quickly. I don't know how to deal with it. My parents are everything to me. I've never defied them. Ayesha, I don't know what to do now. I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I forced them back. Adil, you have to make a choice. This isn't just about your parents. It's about us. You can't keep living in two worlds. You have to decide who you want to be with, who you really want in your life. There was silence on the other end. I could hear him breathing, his thoughts battling inside him. Finally, he spoke again. But this time his voice was different. There was a sense of clarity in it. You're right. I can't keep living like this. I love you, Ayesha, and I'm not going to let anyone, not even my parents, take that away from me. I breathed a sigh of relief, but it wasn't over. Not yet. So, what now? I'm going to talk to them. I'll make it clear that I'm with you. that I choose you. And if they can't accept that, then it's their problem, not mine. I felt a surge of hope, but I also knew that the road ahead wasn't going to be easy. But in that moment, I knew I wasn't alone. Adil was with me, and that was all I needed to hear. I'm here, Adil, always. After that conversation, we agreed to meet later that week. I was nervous, but I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to let anyone tear apart what we had, no matter how much they tried to break us. The next day, I saw him again. This time, he was different. He had a fire in his eyes, a determination that made me believe he was ready to fight for us. He told me he was going to have that conversation with his parents, the one where he would tell them the truth, where he would stand up for us. And as much as I wanted to believe it would all be easy, deep down, I knew it wasn't going to be. Love isn't simple, and standing up for that love, especially when it means going against family, is one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. But I believed in us, and I was ready to fight. Guys, this is where things get tough. If you've been in a situation like this, where you had to choose between family and love, I want to hear your thoughts. What would you do? Would you stand up for love? Or would you let family's opinion win? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more of this story. The day Adil told me he was going to have the conversation with his parents, I felt a mix of emotions. Part of me was relieved, but another part was terrified. I knew that whatever happened, it would change everything. It was no longer just about me and Adil. It was about his entire family's perception of us, and that was a huge weight to carry. I spent the night awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the conversation I knew was coming. What would happen if his parents didn't accept us? What if this was the end of everything we had worked for? Would it be worth it to fight for someone who might not even choose me in the end? I didn't know the answers, but I knew one thing. I couldn't let fear control me. I had to trust that the love Adil and I shared was strong enough to overcome any obstacle, even if it meant defying the people who mattered most to him. The next day, Adil texted me around noon. My heart raced as I read his message. I talked to them. It didn't go as I expected, but I made it clear. I'm with you, Ayesha. I'm not backing down. Relief washed over me, but I was still nervous. What did he mean by it didn't go as expected? I needed to hear the details, to understand how it went, what was said. I immediately called him. He picked up on the second ring. Ayesha, it's done. I've told them everything. I'm not going to lie. It was hard. My dad, he was furious. He called me selfish, told me I was ruining my future, that I was throwing everything away for someone who wasn't even in the same league. I could feel my heart sinking as he spoke, but I tried to stay calm. What did you say to that? I told him that it's my life to live. I told him that you're the one I love, that you're the one who makes me happy, and that no amount of money or status is going to change that. His voice grew more confident as he spoke. I told him I was ready to walk away from everything he ever wanted for me just to be with you. I think that's when he realized I wasn't joking. I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. I could hear the relief in his voice, and it made me believe that, no matter what, we could get through this. But they didn't accept it, he added, and the hope I'd felt moments before seemed to slip away. They said that they would never approve of this relationship. They said I could be successful, but not with someone like you. My stomach dropped. So, what happens now? I don't know, he admitted. They've made it clear that they don't want to see me with you. But I'm not going to let them control me, Ayesha. I'm not going to stop loving you. You're the one I want. You're the one I need. I could feel a tear slip down my cheek. I'm glad you're standing up for us, Adil. But I don't want you to lose your family because of me. I don't want you to have to choose between me and them. I want us to be happy. But I don't want to be the cause of pain in your life. You're not the cause, Ayesha. He said firmly. They are. They've never understood me. They've always pushed me into their world, their expectations. But I can't live for them anymore. I'm living for me. I'm living for you. His words hit me deep. The love in his voice was undeniable. And in that moment, I knew that we were stronger than ever. But still, I couldn't shake the doubt that lingered in the back of my mind. What would it mean for us if his family never accepted me? Could we really build a future with so much resistance? That night, I met him in person. We sat in the same cafe where we first met, the same spot, the same rainy atmosphere. But everything felt different now. We talked for hours about everything and nothing, but mostly about our future. What would it look like if we kept going? What sacrifices would we have to make? And could we handle it if his family never came around? As the night wore on, we realized one thing: our love was stronger than the doubts. We both agreed that no matter what happened with his family, we would face it together. But it wasn't going to be easy. We knew that. It was going to take time, patience, and a lot of strength. Still, we were ready to fight for each other. So, guys, here's the question. If you were in Adil's shoes, would you have stood up to your parents like he did? Would you have chosen love over family? Or would you have tried to please everyone? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to follow the rest of this journey. The days after Adil's conversation with his parents felt like a whirlwind. On the outside, everything seemed calm. But inside, I was battling waves of uncertainty. We had decided to face this together. But with every day that passed, the weight of it all started to feel heavier. And I talked a lot during this time: late night calls, long walks, and deep conversations about what the future could hold. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when I felt like we were both just holding on by a thread, trying to stay strong. I didn't know how to feel about the situation. On one hand, Adil had made a stand for us, and I couldn't have been more grateful for that. But on the other hand, I kept wondering if we were just setting ourselves up for heartbreak. His family's rejection wasn't something that would just disappear, and I couldn't help but fear that it would eventually tear us apart. One evening, I decided to visit my parents. I needed advice. I needed their perspective. I wasn't just facing this alone anymore. I was facing it with Adil, and I wanted to make sure I was making the right choice. I sat in the living room of my childhood home, the place where I had always found comfort. My mom sat beside me, her hand resting gently on mine as she looked at me with concern. Ayesha, I know this isn't easy, but you have to understand something, she said softly. Love is about making sacrifices, but it's also about knowing when to walk away. You have to ask yourself, what do you really want? I want Adil, I said without hesitation. I want to build a life with him. But I'm scared, Mom. I'm scared that his family's rejection will break us. What if it's not enough? What if they never accept me? My mom looked at me, her eyes filled with understanding. I know it's hard, Beta. But if you're going to fight for this, you have to fight with everything you've got. People will talk. They'll try to break you down. But you have to know that love is worth it. Adil is worth it. And if he's standing by you, then you stand by him. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. Her words gave me strength, but they also made me realize something important. This wasn't just about Adil's family anymore. It was about us, our love, our future, and our ability to stand together in the face of everything that tried to tear us apart. That night, I texted Adil. We need to talk. Let's meet tomorrow. I didn't know what was going to happen next, but I knew I had to face this head on. Whatever came next, I had to be strong enough to handle it. The next day, we met at our usual cafe. Adil was already sitting at the table when I arrived, his expression serious. But when he saw me, a small smile tugged at his lips, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. "Hey," he said softly. "How's your family?" "They're good," I said, sitting down across from him. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something." "What's on your mind?" he asked, his eyes searching mine. "I think we need to prepare for what's coming. I know your parents have rejected us, but we can't keep pretending like everything is fine. We need to figure out what we're going to do if they never accept me. Are you prepared to live with that?" Adil leaned back in his chair, taking a deep breath. "I don't know, Ayesha. Honestly, it scares me. I don't want to lose my family, but I also don't want to lose you. I've been thinking a lot about this, and I realized something important. I don't want to spend my life wondering what if. I'd rather live with you, knowing that I made the right choice." His words hit me like a wave of relief, but there was still a part of me that hesitated. What if we lose everything? What if we're left with nothing? "We'll have each other," he said firmly, "and that's enough for me." In that moment, everything became clear. The fear, the doubts, it all faded away. Love wasn't about having it easy. It wasn't about everyone's approval. It was about standing by each other, no matter what the world said. I felt a surge of courage, and I knew that whatever came next, I was ready. I wasn't going to let anyone tear us apart. I wasn't going to let fear control me anymore. We decided that day to move forward together, but I also knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. We would face challenges. People would judge us, and there would be moments when it felt like the weight of the world was on our shoulders. But if we were going to survive this, we had to stay united. We had to trust each other, even when it felt impossible. And so, we made a vow to each other. No matter what happened with his family, no matter how hard things got, we would face it together. We would never let go. So, guys, this is the real question. If you were in Adil's position, would you still choose love over everything else? Could you stand by your partner, even when the world is against you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more of this story. The days that followed were a blur of emotions. Adil and I were determined to move forward, but the tension in the air was undeniable. Every time we saw his parents, the silence between us felt heavier, and their disapproving stares made it clear that they had no intention of accepting me. It was like living in a world where love and rejection existed side by side, constantly reminding us that we were fighting not just for our relationship, but against years of family expectations and pride. But we kept pushing. We kept fighting. Adil and I spent more time together than ever before. And as the days turned into weeks, I began to realize something. The hardest part wasn't facing his parents' rejection. It was seeing Adil struggle with the choice he had made. Every time we met, he seemed more distant, as though the weight of his family's disappointment was slowly breaking him. And as much as I tried to be strong for him, I could see the toll it was taking on both of us. One evening, I found him sitting alone in the park near his house. His shoulders slumped as if he were carrying the weight of the world. I sat down next to him, my heart heavy with the thought that I had pushed him into a corner he wasn't ready for. "Otto," I said softly, "are you okay?" He looked at me, his eyes tired and filled with doubt. "I don't know anymore, Ayesha. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could stand up to them, but I didn't realize how hard it would be. Every day, I feel like I'm losing someone, and it's not just them. It's me, too." I took his hand in mine, squeezing it tightly. "Adil, listen to me. You haven't lost anything. You haven't lost me, and you haven't lost yourself. What you're doing, standing up to your parents, fighting for us, it's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. You're not alone in this. I'm here. We're in this together, remember?" He nodded slowly, tears welling up in his eyes. "I just don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth all this pain. I'm not even sure I'm strong enough to keep going." I could feel my heart breaking as I listened to him. But I also knew that we couldn't give up. Not now. Not after everything we'd been through. "Adil, I love you. And I know this isn't easy. But you have to remember why you're doing this. You're not just fighting for me. You're fighting for your happiness, your future, your freedom to love who you want to love. And you're doing it because you believe in us, because you believe that love is worth fighting for." He looked at me, his face softening as he wiped away a tear. "You're right. I do believe in us. I just needed to hear you say it." I smiled gently, leaning in to kiss him on the forehead. "I'll always be here, Adil. No matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, I'm with you. We'll get through this together. I promise." The next few weeks were filled with difficult conversations. Adil continued to meet with his parents, but every time he returned, it felt like nothing had changed. They were relentless in their disapproval, pushing him further into a corner. But with each conversation, I saw him grow stronger. He wasn't backing down anymore. He was no longer the son trying to please his parents at the cost of his happiness. He was Adil, the man who had chosen his love, who had chosen me. And then, one evening, after what seemed like the 100th heated discussion, Adil came home and looked at me with a determination I had never seen before. "I'm done," he said, his voice firm. "I've tried everything. I've begged them. I've pleaded with them. But it's never going to be enough for them. I can't keep living like this. I can't keep trying to please everyone. I'm going to live my life the way I want to, with the person I want to be with. And that person is you, Ayesha." My heart swelled with emotion as I hugged him tightly. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of peace settle in my chest. This was it. We were ready to take the next step. We weren't just fighting for love anymore, we were building a future. The days that followed were filled with a sense of new beginnings. Adil's family may not have accepted me, but we had each other. And for us, that was enough. We started planning our future together, looking at places to live, talking about our dreams, and slowly letting go of the weight of the past. It wasn't going to be easy. There would always be challenges ahead, but I knew one thing for sure. We would face them together. So, guys, here we are. The final chapter. We've fought for love, we've faced rejection, and we've overcome the odds. But the real question is, would you have stood by your partner through all of this? Would you have chosen love over everything else? Or would You have walked away. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I'm sure there are more stories coming your way.